How do you stand out in a sea of realtors? As I'm sitting here today, there are literally tens of thousands of realtors all over who are trying to basically do the same job that you're doing. They want to get buyers, they want to get sellers, they want to, they want to do the business, and can't blame them. But how do you stand out in a crowd? How do you do real estate differently so you're the go-to person? We're going to talk about that. Now, you've probably heard all the marketing gurus about what to do to market yourself for your real estate business. You need to specialize. You've heard them say, who would you rather go to if you were going to have brain surgery? Do you want to go to a GP, general practitioner, or do you want to go to a brain surgeon? Obviously, brain surgeon would be the choice. So specializing is good. Some people do commercial, some people do property management. I do a little of both, actually. And I've done some commercial, but mostly what I've done is residential real estate for the last 31 years now, and have loved it. My specialty is first-time home buyers. Love them, love giving them their keys the day of closing. It's still jazzes me to this day. So what's your specialty? What is it that you want to do? Is it luxury homes? Is it waterfront property? Is it horse properties? My personal favorite. Is it first-time buyers? What's your specialty? That's one way to stand out in a crowded real estate herd. The other thing is your niche, which kind of goes along with specialty, but a niche is narrowing it down even more. Do you want to deal with single moms? Do you want to work with first-time home buyers, like I've loved to do? Do you want to work with professionals? Do you want to work the luxury market? Do you want to deal with relocations? There's just so many different ideas and things that you can do to really narrow down your niche. And when I say pick a niche, I mean, who do you love working with? Who is someone that you could sit and have a cup of coffee with and just shoot the breeze and just, absolutely adore talking to them and helping them get into the house that they want? That's a really good way to pick a niche. Now, the third way to stand out in a crowd, in a very crowded herd of real estate agents, is, and this is my personal favorite and one that I have been obsessed with, is learning creative finance. And you're like, oh no, Beth. Yes, creative finance. And I'll tell you why. The market, as you can tell, has shifted just a bit over the last few years. And after COVID, the C word, a lot of people went on hiatus as far as making their payments because they couldn't work. And now a lot of people are having to make up those payments. There's also people, I live in Vegas, y'all know that, or maybe you don't, now you do. And we have a lot of 1099 employees around here. And with creative finance, and by creative finance, I mean seller financing, owner will carry, lease back, lease option, also sub 2. And for those of you who do not know what sub 2 is, it's your buyer taking over the seller's loan subject to the existing loan. So the loan actually stays in the seller's name. The buyer becomes the new owner by transfer of title. And a lot of agents and a lot of brokers, quite frankly, of which I am of the broker persuasion, think that it's illegal. And actually, it is not. Actually, if you pull out the last settlement statement that you ever closed with a buyer or a seller and look at lines 203 and 503, there's actually a line on that government piece of paperwork that talks about taking over an existing loan subject to the the loan that's already in place. Say that 3 times fast. So it is absolutely possible. Terms are negotiable, whether the seller, let's take it for instance. Say your seller just bought their house a year ago and they get relocated, or they want to move for family reasons, or whatever the reason is. You and I both know that there probably is not a whole lot of equity in that house. They're kind of, let's put it this way. You put it on the market, you maybe add a little bit of profit in there. By the time the closing costs, the commissions, the prorates, and all of that stuff are paid, chances are your seller is going to be writing a check at closing. And no bueno, nobody loves that. So with a subject to, you can have a buyer come in. They can actually take over the payments of the mortgage that's already in place. And this is great if you've got a self-employed person, a 1099 contractor. As long as they can make the payments, they don't have a credit check. They don't have to go through a bank. They don't have to go through all the rigmarole that a bank, does, make all the hoops that they have to jump through, because the seller is basically the bank. So the cool thing is it helps your seller out, because they can basically get market value for their house. And it's great for the buyer because they're helping out the seller by taking over the payments, giving the seller a little bit of money. Again, everything's negotiable, and we'll dive more into the specifics of sub 2 in future videos. But it's a win-win for everybody. You've got a happy seller, they can move on to where they want to go. You've got a happy buyer, they're in a home that they may not have otherwise been able to get into, just because A, there's not a whole lot of inventory still. Interest rates are still higher than what everyone's used to. Prices are still higher than what everyone's used to. But taking over a seller's loan subject to may be the answer for everybody. And honestly, you get to be the hero, because there's not a whole lot of agents doing this. Not a whole lot of us as agents realize that you can do creative financing, and it is perfectly legit. You go through a title company, the important thing is to find a title company that actually knows what they're doing as far as up to, and I've got a great one here in town. It's a win for everybody. So going back to standing out in a crowd, if you can get really good at being the solution for people, for getting a little creative, for thinking outside the box, let me tell you, you are going to have more business than you know what to do with. Now, in future episodes, we're going to be going into, where do you find these guys? Where do you find the sellers? Where do you find the buyers? Where do you find, just basically anything having to do with creative finance. So it's kind of my thing. Also, where to get leads for all of this stuff. We're going to do a deep dive into that. So if creative finance fascinates you like it does me, if you want to learn more about it, then leave me a comment down below. And what we can do is have a chat. Let me know different subjects of different videos that you'd like to see, because let me tell you, the more tools you have in your tool belt, the better off you're going to be, and the longer you're going to enjoy your real estate business. So having said that, I will talk to y'all later. Love ya, and bye-bye.